Standing at the expansive floor-to-ceiling windows of his corner office, Ethan Blake gazed out at the vibrant cityscape that sprawled below him like a living organism. Each window of the towering skyscrapers seemed to reflect the ambition and innovation pulsing through the heart of Silicon Valley. At just 47 years old, Ethan had climbed the corporate ladder to become the CEO of Innovatech, one of the most celebrated software companies in the tech industry. His journey, marked by relentless determination and an insatiable desire to innovate, had taken him from a modest upbringing in a small Kansas town to the helm of a multi-million-dollar enterprise. He had transformed his dreams into reality, crafting a narrative that many aspired to replicate. However, as Ethan looked out over the city, he couldn't shake the growing unease that had settled in the pit of his stomach. Despite the accolades and the celebrations that came with another record-breaking quarter, a sense of disquiet nagged at him, a feeling that something was amiss within the very fabric of his company. Innovatech was thriving financially, yet the atmosphere within the walls of the office felt increasingly strained. It was an unsettling paradox that he couldn't ignore, and he felt a responsibility to uncover the truth beneath the surface. Just then, the intercom buzzed, breaking his reverie. His assistant, Amy, spoke through the speaker, her voice clear and professional. "Mr. Blake, your 10 a.m. appointment is here." Ethan straightened up, shaking off his contemplative mood. "Send them in, Amy." Moments later, the door opened, and in walked Olivia Chang, the head of human resources, alongside Matthew Turner, the chief operating officer. The air was thick with an unspoken tension, and their expressions mirrored the apprehension that had been building in Ethan's mind. Ethan gestured toward the sleek conference table, where polished wood met modern chrome accents. "Thanks for coming in. I think we're all aware of the pressing issues that have brought us together today." Matthew, typically the embodiment of optimism and energy, now wore a serious expression that suggested he shared Ethan's concerns. "We're here to discuss the employee satisfaction survey results, aren't we?" Ethan nodded gravely. "Yes, that's exactly right. Olivia, would you mind walking us through the key findings?" Taking a deep breath, Olivia pulled out her tablet, her fingers deftly swiping through various charts and graphs before she paused to look up, meeting Ethan's intense gaze. "The news isn't good, Ethan. Compared to last year, overall employee satisfaction has dropped by 18%. We're seeing significant declines in several key areas, including trust in management, work-life balance, and an alarming lack of appreciation among the staff." As Ethan absorbed her words, he leaned back in his chair, rubbing his temples in frustration. "And what about the open-ended responses? Did any recurring issues surface in those comments?" Olivia exchanged a brief look with Matthew before continuing, her tone somber. "Yes, there are some clear patterns. Quite a few employees mentioned feeling overworked and undervalued. Many voiced concerns about a toxic workplace atmosphere and cited favoritism in project assignments and promotions." Matthew sighed, his usual buoyancy diminished. "Look, with our rapid growth over the past year, this has been especially challenging. I think we can attribute some of this to growing pains." Yet, Ethan remained unconvinced. "I understand that growth can be difficult, but these numbers and the comments are alarming. We can't afford to ignore these warning signs, especially when they point to a deeper issue within our culture." Olivia nodded thoughtfully, her brow furrowed as she considered the implications. "We could explore new team-building initiatives, or perhaps review our benefits package to address some of these concerns." Ethan shook his head, frustration evident in his demeanor. "I don't think it's that simple. We need to dig deeper. There's something fundamentally off with our company culture that our metrics simply can't capture." Matthew leaned forward, a flicker of concern crossing his features. "What are you suggesting, Ethan? We've already implemented numerous programs to boost morale." Ethan's eyes grew distant, his mind racing as he recalled a piece of advice from his old mentor. "You can't truly understand a company until you've walked a mile in the shoes of its least privileged employee." The wisdom of those words resonated with him, igniting a spark of determination. "What are you suggesting?" Matthew asked again, this time more insistently. Ethan's gaze sharpened as an idea began to crystallize in his mind. "I think it's time I go undercover," he declared, his voice low but resolute. "As a janitor." Olivia blinked, clearly taken aback by his audacity. "Wait, you can't be serious, Ethan. You're the CEO of a billion-dollar company." "Oh, but I am," Ethan replied firmly, a sense of conviction solidifying within him. If I want to get to the bottom of what's wrong with our culture, I need to see it for myself, without the filter of title or position. I want to understand what our people experience when they think nobody important is watching. Matthew let out a short laugh, then quickly trailed off when he realized Ethan wasn't joking. You're serious about this? Absolutely, Ethan affirmed, the conviction in his voice unwavering. I'm convinced that the only way to uncover the truth is to experience the day-to-day reality of our employees. We rely on a third-party agency for janitorial staff, so I could easily come in as a new hire. Olivia looked troubled, her brow knitting in concern. Ethan, with all due respect, you're the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company. Spending a week mopping floors seems a bit extreme, doesn't it? Why not? Ethan countered, his passion for the cause evident. If I genuinely want to understand the issues at play, I need to immerse myself in the culture of our company. Our people deserve a workplace that values and respects them. If we're falling short, I want to know exactly how and why. Seeing the resolve in Ethan's eyes, Matthew began to consider the implications. All right, he conceded, if we're really going to do this, we need to create a believable backstory and disguise for you. Over the next hour, they meticulously devised a plan that would allow Ethan to adopt his undercover persona seamlessly. He would transform into Eric, a middle-aged man down on his luck and seeking to restart his life with a low-wage job. They agreed on a modest disguise, a short beard, which he would begin growing immediately, thick-rimmed glasses, and a subtle change to his hairstyle to mask his usually polished look. Olivia voiced one last concern as they finalized their plan. What about your family, Ethan? They'll notice something's off if you start acting differently. Ethan's expression softened at the thought. I'll tell my wife, Megan. She'll understand. If anyone else asks, we can say I'm at a leadership retreat. When their meeting concluded, Ethan felt a renewed sense of purpose and excitement swelling within him. He was about to embark on a journey that lay far outside his comfort zone, but one that he felt was absolutely necessary for both himself and the future of Innovatech. That night, Ethan worked with a professional makeup artist to refine his Eric persona, spending hours practicing his new voice, accentuating his speech to give it a more rugged edge, and even adjusting his posture to convey a sense of weariness. In his bathroom mirror, Ethan barely recognized the reflection staring back at him. The sharp-dressed executive was gone, replaced by a man in a plain janitorial uniform, complete with scuffed work boots and a name tag that read, Eric. Megan appeared behind him, wrapping her arms around his waist, a playful smile on her face. You know, she teased, I still think this is insane, but if anyone can pull it off, it's you. He turned to face her, smiling warmly as he felt a wave of gratitude for her support. Thanks, Megan. I need to do this. For myself and for everyone at Innovatech. I can't ignore what's happening any longer. She kissed him on the cheek and handed him a packed lunch. Just promise me you'll be careful and eat this, all right? The janitorial staff aren't exactly known for their gourmet cafeteria options. They both chuckled at the remark, but as Ethan lay in bed later that night, he found himself restless, his mind racing with anticipation and trepidation. Would his disguise hold up? Would he uncover truths that he wasn't prepared to face? These questions lingered in his mind as he drifted in and out of sleep, only to wake before dawn with a sense of nervous excitement. The following morning, Ethan dressed in his janitor uniform, making sure every detail of his disguise was in place. After leaving a note for Megan on the kitchen counter, he set off for Innovatech, choosing to enter through the employee lot rather than his usual executive parking space. As he approached the security desk, Ethan felt a surge of adrenaline. This was a new beginning for him, a chance to step away from the title and status that had defined him for so long. ID badge, please, the guard mumbled, barely glancing up. Ethan handed over the temporary badge Olivia had prepared, his heart racing as he waited for the guard's reaction. The guard took a cursory look before waving him through. Welcome on board, Eric. Keep it clean. Ethan offered a nervous smile and moved deeper into the building. He could feel the weight of the mask he wore, not just the physical disguise, but the emotional barrier that separated him from the life he had known for years. It was an exhilarating and disorienting experience, one that would lead him into the heart of Innovatech's culture. where he would witness the daily grind of his employees and the underlying issues that had festered within the company. As he navigated the corridors, Ethan was greeted with nods and polite smiles from employees who likely didn't recognize him. Each interaction deepened his resolve to uncover the truth behind the troubling survey results. He began his day cleaning floors in the main office, armed with a mop and bucket, and immediately noted the stark contrast between the bustling atmosphere of the executive suite and the quieter, more isolated areas where the janitorial staff worked. In the days that followed, Ethan embraced his new role, learning the ins and outs of being a janitor. He quickly befriended some of the other staff, including Maria, a kind-hearted woman in her 50s who had worked at Innovatech for over a decade. She was known for her infectious laughter and warm smile, and Ethan found himself confiding in her more than he had anticipated. As he shared coffee breaks with her, Ethan learned about the struggles the janitorial team faced, the lack of recognition for their hard work, the long hours they put in, and the growing discontent among their ranks. "Sometimes it feels like we're invisible," Maria admitted one afternoon, stirring her coffee thoughtfully. "No one really cares about what we do, you know? They just want a clean office to walk into every day." Her words struck a chord with Ethan. Despite the wealth and success of Innovatech, there existed a vast chasm between the executive suite and the ground level. It was a gap filled with dissatisfaction, frustration, and a longing for acknowledgement that had gone unheeded for too long. As the days turned into weeks, Ethan's understanding of the company's culture deepened. He witnessed firsthand the disconnect between management and the employees, realizing how the lack of communication had created a toxic environment. Employees often felt unheard and overlooked, a sentiment that echoed throughout the office. Then one fateful day, while emptying trash bins in the executive lounge, Ethan overheard a conversation between two senior executives. Their discussion was peppered with terms like bottom line and profit margins. But what struck him most was their casual dismissal of the employee satisfaction issues. "It's just a phase," one executive remarked. "We'll fix it with a few team-building exercises and a new perks program. It's not worth losing sleep over." Ethan felt a surge of anger rise within him as he realized just how out of touch these leaders were with the people who actually made the company thrive. He had been standing at the periphery, hidden behind the guise of a janitor, yet it was clear that the leadership team had failed to grasp the gravity of the situation. That evening, as he returned home, Ethan's thoughts were a tumultuous storm. He had witnessed the reality of his employees' struggles and the dismissive attitudes of those in power. How could he bridge the gap and create a culture of openness and appreciation? The answer had begun to crystallize in his mind. Over the next few days, Ethan prepared to confront the leadership team with his findings. He gathered testimonials from his fellow employees, highlighting their stories, struggles, and aspirations. He crafted a presentation that combined the quantitative data from the surveys with the qualitative insights he had gained firsthand, determined to advocate for change. On the day of the meeting, Ethan arrived at the office dressed as his usual self, ready to present to the board. His heart raced as he walked into the sleek conference room, filled with executives and board members, all waiting expectantly for his presentation. He opened his laptop and launched the slideshow, revealing the stark truths behind the statistics. "Today, I want to talk about our culture," he began, his voice steady despite the butterflies in his stomach. "This isn't just about numbers, it's about the people behind those numbers." As he spoke, he shared the stories of Maria and others, weaving a narrative that highlighted the disconnect between management and employees. He emphasized the need for empathy, appreciation, and genuine communication to bridge the gap that had formed. "We can't just implement policies and expect change to happen," he asserted. "We need to create a culture of openness, where every employee feels valued and heard." The room was silent, and Ethan could sense the weight of his words hanging in the air. When he concluded, he looked around at the expressions on the faces of his colleagues. Some appeared taken aback, while others looked contemplative. It was clear he had struck a chord. In the days that followed, something remarkable began to happen. Ethan's presentation ignited discussions and sparked a renewed commitment to address the employee satisfaction issues. The leadership team started to implement changes based on his insights, creating forums for open dialogue between employees and management. They established regular check-ins, allowing staff members to voice their concerns and suggestions. As Ethan watched the company begin to transform, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Innovatech was not just a place of work, it was becoming a community that valued and uplifted its people. The laughter that once echoed in the halls had returned, and the energy in the office shifted from tension to collaboration. Through this journey, Ethan had not only uncovered the truth, but had also redefined his purpose as a leader. He learned that true success wasn't merely measured in profits and metrics, but in the well-being of the people who contributed to that success. He realized that leadership was about more than just steering the ship. It was about ensuring that every crew member felt seen, appreciated, and empowered. And in the quiet moments of reflection, as he looked out over the city skyline from his corner office, Ethan Blake knew he had made the right choice. He had not only changed the trajectory of his company, but had also embarked on a profound journey of personal growth and understanding.